Hi, I'm Kate O'Donnell with Mindful Learning Practices. Today we are going to do rapid review on heredity and genetics using digital flashcards. If you would like to purchase a printable set of the flashcards, you can do so at mindfullearningpractices.com. Now, join me in starting with a deep breath and our intention statement. My intention for this practice session is to create a stronger neural network related to heredity and genetics so that I can easily access the information when I need it. I know that I am an important part of the universe. My worth is not measured by how I perform on a test or the grade I get in a class. I am loved unconditionally. I work hard because I find joy in learning, and I know that I can accomplish anything with effort. My intention for this practice session is to create a stronger neural network related to heredity and genetics so that I can easily access the information when I need it. Let's get started. What is genetics? Genetics is the study of how genes interact and how traits are passed from parents to offspring. What is heredity? Heredity is the passing of traits from parents to offspring. Name 3 traits: eye color, hair color, skin color, sleep cycles, height. What is an allele? An allele is one form of a gene. What is a gene? A gene is a unit of heredity found in a chromosome. A gene can be between 200 base pairs to millions of base pairs of DNA. What is the difference between dominant and recessive alleles? A dominant allele is more powerful than a recessive allele and can cover up the trait. For example, brown hair is dominant to blonde hair. When is a recessive trait expressed? A recessive trait is only expressed when both alleles are recessive. What is the difference between genotype and phenotype? The genes of an organism are the genotype, and the observable traits are the phenotype. Give an example of a homozygous genotype. Big H or little h. Give an example of a heterozygous genotype. Big H, little h. What did Gregor Mendel use to study genetics? Pea plants. Name some of the traits Gregor Mendel studied. Seed color, flower color, shapes of pods. What did Mendel discover about genetics? 1. Traits are controlled by alleles. 2. An allele can be dominant or recessive. 3. Sex cells have one allele for each trait. What is the function of a Punnett square? A Punnett square is a tool to determine the probability that an offspring will have certain traits. What would a Punnett square for 2 heterozygous tall plants look like? What is the probability that an offspring of 2 heterozygous tall plants will be tall? 75%. What chromosomes determine sex in humans? X and Y. Females have XX and males have XY. What is the probability that a human baby will be a girl? 50%. Give an example of a trait that is created by multiple genes. Skin color, height. What do we call a trait that is determined by multiple genes? Polygenic. What is incomplete dominance? Incomplete dominance happens when parts of both traits are expressed. Give an example of incomplete dominance. If one parent has curly hair and one parent has straight hair, a child may have wavy hair. What is a codominant trait? A codominant trait is a trait in which neither allele is dominant over the other, so they blend together. Give an example of a codominant trait. In humans, blood type is a codominant trait. If one parent has A blood and the other parent has B blood, the child will have AB blood. How does the environment affect traits? Some traits are only expressed under specific environmental conditions. For example, height is determined by both genes and nutrition. Give an example of a chromosomal abnormality. Down syndrome is a chromosomal abnormality in which an individual inherits 3 copies of chromosome 21 instead of 2. What is a recessive genetic disease? A recessive genetic disease is a disease that only appears if an individual gets both recessive alleles for the disease. Give an example of a recessive genetic disease. Cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, Tay-Sachs disease. Why are most diseases that result in early death recessive? Most diseases that result in early death are recessive because if they were dominant, humans would have died out because they wouldn't have been able to reproduce. What is genetic engineering? Genetic engineering is scientists altering the genes of cells using biological or chemical processes. What do we call crops that have been altered by genetic engineering? Genetically modified organisms, GMOs. Why do scientists want to genetically engineer crops? Scientists can make crops resistant to drought, chemicals, or pests. Closing meditation. Thank you for this opportunity to grow as a learner. I know that taking time to practice remembering will strengthen my neural networks and help me remember when I need to. I know that I am an important part of the universe. My worth is not measured by how I perform on a test or the grade I get in a class. I am loved unconditionally. I work hard because I find joy in learning, and I know that I can accomplish anything with effort. After this practice session, I am ready to move on to the next part of my day, focusing on kindness, acceptance, and compassion for others. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.